welcome to NameTech channel. My name is Nehemiah, and today I'm going to take you through JavaScript statements and comments. And so guys, before we get started, please subscribe to this channel and also give it a like. And so today we are, as I told you earlier, we are going to discuss on the JavaScript statements. And so straight away, let's understand the JavaScript statements. And so what is a computer program? Basically, a computer program is a list of instructions to be executed by a computer. And so these instructions, they are the ones that we call them the statements. JavaScript program is a list of programming statements. And JavaScript, the JavaScript statements are composed of values, operators, expression, keywords, and comments. And so for you to understand these steps very well, let's open this text editor so that we may write something. So here, this is I'm using the Visual Studio Code, and I've imported this folder called the JavaScript. And then inside this folder, I'm going to write a HTML document here. So I'm going to say index.html, and then I click enter to create that file. So if you're using the Visual Studio Code, you can just write an exclamation and then you click enter to give you the structure of a HTML document. And so you can give it any title, like let me say JavaScript JavaScript statements. And so we are going to write here those are statements, but before that, remember we use the script tag to specify that these are JavaScript. So the script tag, you just write a script, and then you click enter, and then you create some space where you are going to write your JavaScript there. And now in this script tag, we are going to write here some statements. And then, but before that, let's create a h1 to give it a title at least. h1, and then in this h1, let me give it a title, like let me say JavaScript statements. JavaScript statement. Perhaps let me add a CSS here to style it. So let me just insert here an external CSS here. Then I'm going to like the right link, and then I'm going to give it styles.css, an external CSS. And then here in this external CSS, I'm going to say perhaps it is h1. So the select is h1, and then I'm going to open the curly braces and say text align to be centered, and then I'll save. And so now that we have written that JavaScript there, so we are going to create also an ID here. So let me create a p tag here for paragraph, and then I'm going to create an ID here. ID, just write ID, and you give it a name. The name of that ID is, remember, it should be unique. So this ID, let me give it any name, like a test for testing. Yeah, test, let it be the way it is. And then now so in this one script tag here inside, you are going to write your statements. So I'm going to write here the first statement, like let me say let x, remember I'm using a variable here, x, y, and z. Remember to close a statement, you close with a semicolon, and then you go to another line. Let me say so x, I'm going to give it perhaps 10, then you close with a semicolon, and then I'm going to say maybe y equals to maybe 10 again, 10. And then I'm going to say now z equals to x plus y, then you remember to close with a semicolon, and then at the end here we are going to write here document dot get element by id. So do you record the id? The id is here, the id is text, so you are going to copy this part, and then here you are going to open here this brackets, you're going to open and close the quotation mark, and then you're going to paste here your text, your id, and then you end with that inner HTML, and then you write the equal sign, and then you open and close the the quotation mark, and then you are going to write anything here. Before that, here, so let me add a text here and say let me say just JavaScript statements. JavaScript statements. And so now here, and between these two quotation mark, I'm going to write anything that will change. So I'm writing here JavaScript that will change the paragraph. So let me say, and then you are going to say here, so the value, the answer there, you can write in the answer. So the answer is, then you are going to open and close this quotation mark again, and then you are going to say plus z plus the plus, and then you are going to write at the closing quotation mark, the closing quotation mark, and then when you are done, you ensure that you close with a semicolon to close a JavaScript statement, and then you are going to save. Let me open with a live server. Remember, if you don't have, you can come to this icon here for extension, and then you are going to write a live server here. You're going to write live server. Live server already have installed, so there's no need, that's why it's not giving me that option to install. So once you have installed the live server, you can right click here on this text editor, and then you are going to say open with live server. And so you can see here, this was my title, JavaScript statement, and then I said JavaScript program is a list of statements to be executed by a computer. The answer is 20. Remember I said x plus y, remember x is 10, y is 10, so x plus y is 20. So basically this is now a simple JavaScript that it has given us the answer that is 20. So basically these are the statements. And now the comments they are not that necessarily to be the comments they are not important in the browser, but these are just for to help programmers. So they have no effect on the browser, but they just help the programmers to identify the kind of code they had written here. And so we use these two forward slashes, and you can write anything. My first script. So if you save, you can see it have no effect on the browser. But for example, if I write here a div, I write a div and say my name is John. You can see automatic. You save when first of all you have saved, and then here you can see my name is John, so it will refresh automatically. But when I write these comments here, use the comments and say my name name is Nehemiah. My name is Nehemiah. You can see there's no change here in the browser. So basically these comments, they're just used to help the coders or programmers to identify the places where they had a code, or perhaps to remind them the kind of code that was written here. So perhaps, for example, if I use this forward slash and then I write this star, it will make these entire statements to be like a comment. It will have no effect on the browser. And then I close. To close, you close with a star and then a forward slash. So when you save, you can see these statements will not appear in the browser. So then you can see there's no such kind of JavaScript statements there. But when you remove and save, you see automatic it will appear there. So it's very, very good to write what? It's very good to know the kind of comments you are going to write, and you are going to write it where. So you can as well write here at the end of a statement. You can write anything like first statement. Let me just copy, then I paste here. Let me change it to be second, third, fourth, and so on. So when I save on the browser, you can see there's nothing that is affected there. So basically these are the comments. But now the other thing that I want to show you before we end this video, how to link an external JavaScript here. And so I'm going to write here an external JavaScript. So first of all, to write an external JavaScript, you are going here. Before that, ensure that you have saved. So you are going to the same folder, and then you are going to write here my script, any name like my script, my script. But remember, the key thing is this file path .js. This extension .js is the key thing here, and then you click enter to save that JavaScript. So to your HTML, you are going to create here the script. Remember, at the end, just be above this, below the body tag here, just above this closing tag of the body. And then we are going to write now the script, but with a CRC for source, so that we may specify the external JavaScript. And then we are going to write my script. Remember to give it a name, exact name as you have written with the external JavaScript. My script.js. So this is the name of the external JavaScript, and then you save. And so now that we have linked your JavaScript here, so let's create a function first of all. So the ID is still there, text, and then let's create a function here. Like let me say, let me create a button with a function. So let me use a button. But now in this first tag, I'm going to add here an attribute. I'm going to write here type function. Type first of all should be button, and then now I'm going to give it an on-click function, and then you can give it any name, like let me say my function, and then you end with these two words. They are called brackets, the normal brackets. And so once you have written that, you can give the name of you can give that button a name. Like I can say and observe and observe changes. And so we have completed this button, this function here. So we want to write the JavaScript for it. We are going to write how it should be executed. So you are going to write now on this external JavaScript here. You are going to write some functions here. Like in this first line, you are going to write a function, and then it was my function. Or what I do, let me just copy, and then paste here this external JavaScript. And so once you have placed it there, let me open this curly brackets here. So in this in this curly brackets, I'm going to write here document dot get element by ID. So remember the ID it was test, right? You can still confirm we are using the normal bracket. Let me say the ID it was here text. It should be test. Let me say test or any name. So I'm going to copy it and save. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to open this normal brackets, then open and close the quotation mark, and then paste it there your ID. So once you pasted the ID, you can you end with this inner HTML, then equal sign, and then you are going to open and close. You are going to open and close this quotation mark. Create anything, any word, like let me say JavaScript is my best programming language. See how me is a paragraph see how me is a paragraph changed instantly. And remember to close a statement, you close with a semicolon. Yeah. So save, and so save, ensure that everything is right before you go to and check. So once you have saved, then I'll go to your JavaScript here. So you can see here is my so the initial paragraph is JavaScript statements. Let me remove this part that say my name is what. Let me remove this div and save. So I have this first paragraph, and then I have a button here. So observe, when I click on it, you can see the paragraph changes. So JavaScript is my best programming language. Let me just zoom in so that you can see very well. So here is my title, and then this is the second paragraph. So let me refresh so that it may be just normal. So this is the initial paragraph. You can see JavaScript is JavaScript statement, and so when I click on this button, you can see JavaScript is my best programming language. See how me as a paragraph I'm changed instantly. So basically this is now how you can write your external JavaScript. So today I just want to introduce to you the JavaScript statements. And so guys, today I just want you to understand the JavaScript statements. And so we have realized that the statements, so they are basically the instructions that are to be executed by a computer. Basically, like for our case, this is now the statement, and the statement is you end a statement with a semicolon. So we saw also in the previous example with those variables here, there, with those mathematical function there, the variables, we saw that the let x, y, z, and then we close that was the first variable, and then now x equals to 10, y equals to 10. That was the second and third statements, and so forth. So basically, statement, these are the line of codes. Remember, our codes now are being executed in this browser, as you can see. So this is now all about what I wanted to show you.